We're going to start out with a brief overview of the Sauternes appellation. Sauternes is located in the southern part of Grave. Certainly the most famous wines from Sauternes, and those that we'll be focused on in this video, are the sweet wines that are made from grapes affected with botrytis, or so-called noble rot. The Barsac appellation is also wrapped up in this discussion, as producers from Barsac can label their wines either Sauternes or Barsac. Flavors and aromas for Sauternes typically include tropical fruit, honey, vanilla, and mixed spice. These wines tend to be a little bit full-bodied and they're sweet, but this sweetness is well balanced by ample acidity, so they're not cloyingly sweet. This slide contains some additional basic facts regarding the Sauternes appellation. This information might be useful for those of you who are studying for wine certification exams, so definitely take a screenshot of it if you have an exam coming up. In terms of the grapes that go into Sauternes, you're typically talking about Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc. Semillon is typically the dominant grape and is often at least 80% or so of the blend. Some producers even use 100% Semillon. Where Sauvignon Blanc is included, that's oftentimes to increase the acidity of the blend. Muscadel is typically not used very frequently in Sauternes. Most producers will typically use that for their dry white wines. It takes a very special microclimate to be able to produce wine from botrytis-affected grapes. Sauternes is one of the very few places in the world that has this particular microclimate. Specifically, the conditions that are necessary to produce botrytis-affected grapes include alternating misty, humid mornings with dry, sunny afternoons. In Sauternes, these conditions are made possible by the humidity that's provided by the Landes forest, as well as the intersection of the very cold Ciron River and the warmer Garonne River. These factors combine to produce lots of mist and humidity, especially in the mornings, that helps lay the groundwork for the production of botrytis. In the afternoon, there's dry winds that come in from the east, and typically there's more sunny, warmer conditions in the afternoon that will help to dry up the humidity and prevent gray rot, which can ruin the grapes, and help to ensure that noble rot or botrytis sets in. I witnessed these conditions firsthand on my way to Sauternes last December. I had a 10 a.m. appointment, and on the way I encountered lots of humidity and mist. It looked kind of like fog. But by the end of my visit, conditions were sunny and pleasant, and even a little bit warm, certainly for December, and there was no sign of the humidity and mist that was present earlier in the day. Once the grapes are affected by botrytis, they turn brown, and the skins become permeable, which allows some of the water inside the grapes to evaporate. This concentrates the sugars, flavors, and aromas inside the grapes. There's a natural maceration that takes place, and the result is intensely concentrated flavors and aromas inside these grapes. And as you can tell by looking at the grapes, you're not able to get a whole lot of juice from these botrytis-affected grapes. That's one reason that yields are so low in Sauternes. Harvest for Sauternes is also a time-consuming and expensive process. There's typically a number of trained pickers that are required to go through the grapes and oftentimes harvest botrytis-affected grapes berry by berry. These harvesters have to be able to distinguish between botrytis or noble rot and gray rot. So the inclusion of gray rot impacted grapes in the Sauternes could ruin the wine. It's certainly not uncommon for the harvesters to have to go through the vineyard 5 or 6 different times just to complete the harvest. This process can take 6 to 8 weeks or more, some vintages. So certainly a very expensive process to harvest Sauternes. Those interested in wine history and the 1855 classification of Bordeaux will be interested to learn that the 1855 classification also applied to Sauternes. In all, there's 27 classified producers of Sauternes, one of which stood alone at the top, and then there were 11 first gross and 15 second gross.